Maui wildfires still unknown. Authorities asking families of the missing to provide DNA samples to help with identification. Thousands of firefighters are facing huge pay cuts. The reason? Disagreements between lawmakers over federal spending. Welcome to NTD News Today. I'm Chris Beers. Our top news: more surrenders at the Fulton County Jail, where 18 co-defendants alongside former President Trump are being charged with conspiring to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia. NTD's Melina Wisecup is on the ground at the jail. Melina, what updates do you have for us, and what's the environment like there now?
So the environment is super tense, more so than it's been over recent days. Media presence has grown a bit as we're anticipating more high-profile surrenders, including that of Rudy Giuliani, who's actually at the district attorney's office, or he's on his way there right now, to make a consent agreement with the district attorney prior to coming here to the jail. Now, since this morning, 4 more have surrendered here to the jail, making a total of 6. The 4 that surrendered today include Trump's former campaign lawyer, a local Georgia lawyer, as well as local Georgia officials, including the former chairman of the GOP, David Schaefer. All of them had mugshots taken. They were in and out rather quickly because they did already have those consent bail agreements in place. As I mentioned earlier, Rudy Giuliani is right now trying to do the same, work out that consent bail agreement with the district attorney's office before he comes here to get booked, because that will speed up his process a little bit. We are still expecting a mugshot for Rudy Giuliani because the sheriff here says that all of them will be treated the same as any other citizen would if they were booked here in this jail. Now, another update is about Mark Meadows. So he, of course, tried to file his case in a federal court, tried to move his case to a federal court. Now, his attorneys tried to work with the district attorney here to delay his surrender deadline from Friday until sometime next week, because he does have a court hearing with that federal judge on Monday about this case. But essentially, the district attorney said no to them. So his attorneys instead have filed for the judge, the federal judge that they're filing to move their case to. His lawyers have requested for him to either grant their permission to move that case or order the district attorney not to send out an arrest warrant for Mark Meadows. Now, as for former President Trump, we know he will be here to surrender sometime tomorrow, but tonight he's kicking off his version of the debate by posting an interview with Tucker Carlson on X, where Tucker has posted much of his other content since he left Fox News. Trump has skipped the debate, saying that he doesn't need to go, considering he has such a high lead in the polls. He also says that other great presidents, such as Ronald Reagan, did not join a debate, so why should he? Chris?
Tell us more about Trump's appearance at the jail. How can we expect it to play out?
So he has a consent agreement, a bail agreement, with around $200,000 of a cash bail. This is the first time the former president will have to make a cash bail in any of these indictments. But we do expect it to be a rather quick process here, considering the other co-defendants did have a rather quick process. They were in and out with just hours to spare. So we do expect to see that move very quickly for former President Trump. As far as a mugshot and fingerprints, the sheriff says all of them will be treated the same. We're not sure how involved Secret Service is willing to get as far as that procedure that goes on actually inside the jail. Chris?
Thank you, Melina. A slew of action in Trump's Georgia case. With 19 defendants, there's a lot going on. Former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark and David Schaefer, one of Georgia's alternate electors, have asked to move the case to federal court. They joined President Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Here to discuss this move is Paul Kamenar, lead counsel for the National Legal Policy Center. Paul Kamenar, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Multiple co-defendants in Trump's Georgia case have asked for the case to be elevated to a federal case. Why?
Well, because they were former federal officials, and they have a right under the law 28 U.S.C. 1422, which says basically if a state charges a federal officer or official with a state crime, they have a right to remove it to a federal court. And that's what you see happening here with Mark Meadows, Jeffrey Clark, and a few others are coming in as well. And the reason they're doing that is because they will have a favorable court to litigate this in because you have a federal judge. You also have a better jury pool in the federal court because it's drawing from jurors around the northern counties other than just down in Fulton County, which is heavily Democratic and pro-Biden. So, and there's some motions they'll be making that are constitutional questions that a federal judge is better able to handle than a state court judge.
And is this likely to be allowed?
Yeah, I think so. The law is pretty clear on that. It may be unclear with respect to some of the defendants. For example, Rudy Giuliani wants to move it to federal court. He was not a federal official, but if you read the law, it allows those who are maybe advising federal officials. So I think it will be allowed. Now, Fannie Willis, the prosecutor, is going to be filing her opposition to that, and we'll see where that goes. But I think they have a very good argument to have it removed to federal court.
Now, Paul, Donald Trump is expected to turn himself in tomorrow at the Fulton County Courthouse. Is this likely to be different from the other court appearances he's had in the other 3 indictments?
Yes, I think so. Fannie Willis has indicated that he's going to be treated like any other defendant, in which case he'll have a mugshot, fingerprinted, and so forth, whereas in the other cases, they dispensed with that because the whole purpose of the mugshot and so forth is in case the defendant takes off and is a fugitive, they want to send out his picture to everyone to know where he is, to be on the lookout. Well, everybody knows Donald Trump, and he's flying around in an airplane that says Trump on it, so he's not going to abscond anywhere. So he'll be treated differently, and I think more harshly there. But it will be a trying ordeal for anybody to have to go through the process down there in the Fulton County Jail, which, by the way, is under federal oversight because of the deplorable conditions in that prison. I mean, you had one prisoner who was basically eaten alive by bed bugs, for God's sakes. So this is not a good place to be.
So why the difference here?
Well, I think the difference here in the state court, obviously, is Fannie Willis. It's clear that she's trying to treat Trump and all the other defendants differently. I mean, she's already vowed to go and arrest Jeff Clark, who was indicted, that he wants to have the state or the federal court stay that action. And she's saying, look, if nobody shows up tomorrow, Friday at noon, I'm sending out the sheriffs to have you all arrested. So she's playing hardball there. And it's clearly that she's got an axe to grind with Trump as well as these other defendants.
Paul Kamenar, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Coming up, striking Hollywood writers are offered a new proposal by studios, but is it enough to bring the strike to an end? And Google has gotten caught up in a $6 billion lawsuit aimed at the NFL Sunday Ticket broadcast deal. More in just a moment here on NTD News Today.
We would like to help you maintain a healthy body and mind so that you have the strength to enjoy a productive and fulfilling life. We want to keep you informed so that you can make the best decisions to support your family. We want to offer you the best education so you can join us in building a positive future for humanity. We hope to inspire you with goodness and compassion, to nurture your heart and soul with love and kindness, and fill your spirit with positive things. We'd like to share the tastiest meals with you, because you are part of our family. We want to bring you the most interesting and exciting things so we can enjoy every single day together. Ganjing World, technology for humanity. Imagine a coffee that cares for your health. Expertly fermented with a 50 enzyme complex to enhance flavor and remove bitterness. Small batch roasted to a decadent medium dark, resulting in a brew that is gentle on digestion, low acid, and up to 90% less caffeine than regular coffee. Try America's first enzyme fermented coffee today.
Anyone who's ever sold a home will tell you it's really hard. And it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. That's why who you work with matters. Together with HomeLight, we take care of every detail.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Former Congresswoman Debbie Merkisel-Powell reemerges, this time to challenge Florida's incumbent Senator Rick Scott for his Senate seat in 2024. The former Congresswoman announced her campaign via social media. She wrote, "I'm an immigrant, a Latina, and a mother," in a post on X. She also wrote, "I'm not afraid to take on anyone who doesn't put Florida first. That means you, Rick Scott. That's why I'm running for U.S. Senate." The Democrat represented the Miami area for one term in Congress from 2019 to 2021 before losing her seat to Republican Congressman Carlos Jimenez. The 2022 midterm elections saw the Republican presence in the state grow stronger. The Ecuadorian immigrant is hoping to show that Democrats can still win in the state. According to Politico, Democrats on the national level pushed for Merkisel-Powell's candidacy. The news outlet says Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer reached out to her personally to urge her to run. He wants her to help Democrats strengthen their hold in the Senate. Beyond personality, platforms and policies make candidates stand out. To discuss how Republican candidates should navigate issues like business, economics, and immigration, I spoke with Javier Palomares, founder and CEO of the U.S. Hispanic Business Council. Javier Palomares, thank you for joining us again.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Good morning to you.
Javier, what will small businesses be listening for in tonight's debate in terms of regulations and bureaucracy that impede efficiency?
You know, I think as we gear up for the debate tonight, American small business is going to be very focused on hearing from these candidates where they stand on things like regulation and balancing the budget, the banking and financial system, and immigration as well.
And we've seen multiple bank failures recently. What strategy should candidates propose to ensure borrowers are protected going forward?
You know, I think as it relates specifically to the minority, Hispanic, women, and veteran lending, it's no secret that there have been challenges there. I think candidates should focus on ensuring that the American banking system gets a bit more focused on Main Street versus Wall Street. You know, the banking system right now is in a bit of disarray, particularly mid-sized banks. And so these are the banks that typically small businesses go to for the financing that we need to grow our businesses. We need a president that understands those challenges and that will work with us to ensure that the banking system is easily accessible and fair for all.
And just continuing with economics, Bidenomics has been touted by the president, but GOP candidates have criticized it strongly. How can candidates provide a sense of stability to small businesses facing, economic challenges right now?
You know, it's no secret to us anyway that Bidenomics is working. We see an unemployment rate, the likes of which we've not seen in close to 70 years. There's been a massive investment in America's infrastructure. That is a boon for American small businesses, the American economy, and the American people. I think, frankly, that we should keep our hands off of the funding that's already been allocated in a bipartisan fashion to fund the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. I think Bidenomics is working. I think we need to give it time. We need to get away from the political rhetoric and look at the metrics that we've always looked at in this country, interest rates, employment rates, and things of that nature. And when you look at those metrics, it is evident to me that Bidenomics is in fact working.
Now, you touched on this briefly, but the topic of immigration will likely be at the forefront of tonight's debate. How do immigration policies impact U.S. businesses, and what should candidates focus on with this issue?
Well, I mean, I think as you look at immigration, we've always said that immigration reform is an economic imperative for the continued well-being of our economy and our nation. It is clear to us that cornerstone industries like construction, hospitality, manufacturing, all rely on immigrant labor. Agriculture, by way of example, 73% of the labor in the agricultural sector in America is of immigrant background. And yet in the agricultural sector, we have been suffering from labor shortages for more than 10 years. Every year, we have to destroy some 10 million tons of produce that goes unharvested because we don't have the labor to harvest those crops. So it is clear to us that we need a president that understands the importance of immigrant labor and keeping our borders safe. I think something like the Dignity Act is a prime example of how we can do both.
All right, Javier Palomares, thank you again.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Have a good day.
The Hollywood Writers Union urging members to continue picketing despite a new proposal from Hollywood studios and streaming services. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers negotiates on behalf of companies including Walt Disney and Netflix. It changed its offer to include a compounded 13% pay increase over the 3-year contract and curbs on AI-generated content. But the Writers Union says the offer falls short and fails to protect writers from the threats that caused them to strike in the first place. On the other side, the president of the Studio Alliance emphasized the offer addresses the writers' main concerns. She said the studio is deeply committed to ending the strike. The Writers Guild of America began striking on May 2nd. They were later joined by members of the Screen Actors Guild. The strike has paused productions across Hollywood and is costing the California economy billions of dollars. Google is getting roped into a lawsuit over its exclusive deal with the NFL to broadcast certain games. Football fans are seeking $6 million from the league and DirecTV. NFL Sunday Ticket subscribers say they were forced to pay more while being able to see fewer games on other platforms. That's because the NFL Sunday Ticket moved from DirecTV to Google's YouTube TV earlier this year. Google is believed to have information needed in the lawsuit. The subscribers want to see Google's Sunday Ticket subscriber numbers and pricing, but Google lawyers say the request is unduly burdensome. A filing says Google has agreed to provide 3 documents, but an attorney told Reuters that that's not nearly enough. Coming up, Maui residents turn to traditional leis while they mourn the loss of homes and loved ones. Florals dot the blackened landscape of Lahaina. And thousands of firefighters are facing huge pay cuts. The reason? Disagreements between lawmakers over federal spending. We'll have the details soon when we return.
On our next installment of America's Hope, we focus on the humanitarian operations underway on the ground in Lahaina, where people have been devastated by a wildfire that struck there 2 weeks ago. That's next on America's Hope.
NTD's Capitol Report. It's about getting answers, cutting through the fog of politics. It's about your questions and our chances to ask.
What is the net impact of the American Congressman Graves? Thank you for joining us.
We're speaking to those in power to find out what does this mean for the people. We're here so you're in the know.
Good morning. I'm Evelyn Lee.
And I'm Kevin Hogan.
The stories that need to be told, the voices that need to be heard, the truth that you need to see. Get unbiased and in-depth news. Don't miss a beat. I'm Stephanie Cox. At NTD, we're here for you.
Back to the news. 2 weeks into the devastating fires on Maui, the death toll is still unconfirmed. Police Chief John Pelletier outlined the harrowing search for remains.
Every single structure or area that's been damaged by the fire is being and will be searched for human remains so that we can recover our loved ones. We are going to do this right. We're not going to do it fast. We cannot be in a rush to judgment. We've got one chance. And when this is all said and done, realistically, let's be honest here, we're going to have a number of confirmed. We're going to have a number of presumed. I do not have that number now. We're going to work diligently to get that. It may take a while.
Pelletier said a thorough search is underway, but some of the victims were so badly burned that nothing more than ashes were recovered. Authorities have urged relatives of the missing to provide DNA samples to help identify remains uncovered in the rubble. FBI Special Agent in charge Stephen Merrill said the list of those unaccounted for is now between 1,000 and 1,100. Grieving residents of Lahaina are turning to a traditional Hawaiian symbol, the lei. The island is in mourning after the deadliest wildfire in the U.S. in more than a century. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more.
In Hawaiian culture, leis are symbolic of aloha. The Hawaiian term is used for greetings, but it can also represent gratitude.
So a celebration of any kind is usually centered around flowers, and a lei is part of that.
Maureen and Carver Wilson own a flower shop on Maui. In times of mourning, the floral wreaths are used to show respect for the dead. In the days since the August 8th wildfires, lei have dotted the blackened landscape of Lahaina.
Flowers are usually given at celebratory times. You may even think, oh, a funeral might not be celebrating, but you are celebrating the person's life.
The lei is used to say a final goodbye.
They often do leis that they release onto the ocean. Now, usually we untie the lei, but people paddle out on their surfboards or take a canoe.
The couple's daily drive now takes them past burned down houses and scorched fields. Their own house and flowers were spared.
We're listening, but there's a lot of pain out there, a lot of pain. And so hopefully through flowers with time, we will be able to ease that pain a little bit.
More than 100 people have been confirmed dead, and hundreds are still missing. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
We're learning about the economic toll caused by the deadly wildfires in Maui. Moody's estimates the losses could range between $4 and $6 billion. Moody's estimates insurance will cover about 75% of the property losses, and it says Maui's recovery will be long and expensive. Analysts say construction costs about 44% more on the island compared to the mainland. Amid deadly wildfires, federal firefighters might take a significant pay cut. That's if congressional lawmakers can't agree on spending budget. Here's the story.
Federal wildland firefighters are facing a huge potential pay cut this fall that's due to repeated disagreements over federal spending between lawmakers. The federal government employs almost 19,000 wildland firefighters. President Biden raised their pay to a minimum of $15 per hour in 2021. On top of that, he later implemented annual pay raises of $20,000 or 50% of their base pay, whichever was smaller. The White House now says the funding for those pay hikes are expected to run out in about 5 weeks. That's partly why the Biden administration sent this letter to House Speaker Kevin McCarthy earlier this month. In total, Biden asks for $40 billion in the letter. That's to support Ukraine, replenish U.S. federal disaster funds, and more. It also includes $60 million for firefighters, which would guarantee their pay. If funding for them runs out, some firefighters could go back to earning $15 an hour as they did in 2021. Idaho Representative Mike Simpson said they might walk off the job with somebody who's going to cut their pay 50%. That could mean dire consequences for states in the West and Southwest where over 16,000 firefighters were battling more than 90 large fires as of Tuesday. And just on Monday, Republicans from the House Freedom Caucus said they'll only support a spending bill if it includes money for a southern border wall, addresses weaponization of the federal government, doesn't allocate too much to Ukraine, and more. Lawmakers have until October to agree on a budget, which is when a new fiscal year starts.
Flooding has forced over 100 people to evacuate from an area near the Grand Canyon's south rim. Others in the area were told to shelter in place. Locals and tourists all had to leave their homes or hotels in the area near the Grand Canyon's southern entrance. 70 students from a local school district had to shelter at a school, but were later returned home. Water reached levels as high as 3 feet deep and closed the highway temporarily. The flooding was caused by heavy rainfall on Tuesday. Roads have now reopened, but the Grand Canyon National Park Service is asking visitors to avoid traveling to and from the town of Tusayan until further notice. The town bills itself as the door to the Grand Canyon, but it's now dealing with power outages and cleanup efforts. We have photos from a miraculous rescue. The U.S. Coast Guard saved a man who had been stranded for 3 days on an uninhabited island. Photos show the letters SOS etched on the sandy beach of an island in the Bahamas. The Coast Guard said they saw flares fired from a sailboat nearby. When they arrived, they found a makeshift camp and a 64-year-old Dutchman. The Coast Guard gave the man food and water and transport off the island. Still to come, a new school year is just around the corner, and so is the anxiety. We have some expert advice on how to deal with emergencies and relieve stress. And an Australian grandmother makes pencil cases for young students in need. She hopes her efforts will help the next generation succeed in school and in life. More shortly here on NTD News Today.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
This is it, the culmination of everything our young athlete has worked for these past months. He's filled with determination. You can see it in his face. Is today the day he overcomes? And here we go. There is no defense in the world that will keep him at bay. He's on fire. Nothing can stop him. Watch him as he heads towards the goal. Oh, he's rock hard, but that doesn't stop him. He's a warrior. He's back up. His eyes are on the goal. He's set up for the shot. He shoots. Goal!
goals like this is only possible with the monthly support of people just like you.
Please call the number on your screen right now and give your monthly support to Shriners Hospitals for Children so other children can reach their goals too.
If you give just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, we will send you your very own Love to the Rescue blanket as a reminder of the love you're giving us. Because of monthly support of people like you, nothing is stopping me from achieving my goals.
And here we go. There is no defense in the world that will keep him at bay. He's going left. Oh, he fakes right and continues. Look at those moves. He takes the shot. Goal! Good shot! Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, call again or go to loveshriners.org to give right away. Your monthly gift helps kids achieve their goals. Goal!
2023, the 10th NTD International Classical Chinese Dance Competition, aims to promote the traditional art of classical Chinese dance. This September, top dancers from around the world will compete in skill and showcase talent at the Performing Arts Center of Purchase College in New York. Don't miss the chance to see these long-lost dance techniques performed live. Order your tickets at dance.ntdtv.com.
Thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us now, here are some of today's top headlines. Trump campaign lawyer Rudy Giuliani heading to Georgia as he and others plan to surrender in the election case. The former president is set to turn himself in tomorrow. He said he will release a pre-taped interview with Tucker Carlson tonight. Business, economy, and immigration are hot-button topics to watch for in tonight's GOP primary debate. Javier Palomares, founder and CEO of the U.S. Hispanic Business Council, says Americans are looking for candidates that focus on Main Street instead of Wall Street. Maui's police chief says that the death toll remains unconfirmed as the search continues in the wake of the deadly fires. Authorities urged families of the missing to provide DNA samples to help with identification. Meanwhile, wildfire firefighters are facing a potential pay cut as lawmakers are split over federal spending. If funding runs out, some firefighters could see their wages slashed in half. As more and more kids head back to school, worries over crises like active shooters or weather emergencies, medical complications, and bullying can be top of mind for both parents and students. Here are some tips on how to get the school year started right.
Going back to school can be stressful, but experts say there are steps you can take to alleviate anxiety and be prepared for any scenario.
If we can empower them to feel like they're responsible for their own safety and that there's things that they can do to feel safe so that there isn't so much fear.
Lori Olin from Allied Universal, a security services company, recommends keeping open communication with your school, understanding the protocols for emergencies, and identifying safe adults who your child can turn to for help.
Know who those people are. That's number one. And that's for students of any age. For higher education, it's just as important to know who those trusted adults are on campus.
Online safety should also be a priority.
Encouraging children not to share passwords. Don't talk to strangers. Be mindful of online bullying.
That advice extends to parents as well. Byron Lowens of the University of Michigan says to think twice when posting those back-to-school photos on social media.
It can reveal personal information about your child. This information can be potentially used by predators or other criminals to track your child down.
With so many safety concerns to take into consideration, mental health expert Erin Pash recommends focusing on the positive and empowering your child.
Kids are so resilient and they're so trusting. If we set the tone the way that we want them to have an experience, they're usually very accommodating and adaptive to that.
Staying with back-to-school season, one pediatric group is calling for corporeal punishment in schools to be abolished. The American Academy of Pediatrics released an updated policy statement by the Council of Health. It urges that spanking or striking children in schools should be abolished in all states by law. The AAP says corporeal punishment is legal in public schools in 18 states, and nearly 70,000 students are struck at least once a year. The policy authors say age-appropriate, non-violent behavioral strategies should be used instead. The group also says parents should refrain from spanking, hitting, shaming, or threatening their children when they are being disciplined. Screen time for toddlers is linked to developmental delays. That's according to a new study published on the journal JAMA Pediatrics. The authors looked how many hours a 1-year-old child used screens per day. Based on the parents' reporting, by the age of 2, children were 3 times more likely to experience delays in communication and problem-solving skills if they looked at screens for up to 4 hours per day. Those who had more than 4 hours of screen time were nearly 5 times more likely to have underdeveloped communication skills. They were also nearly 2 times more likely to have subpar fine motor skills. Scientists aren't surprised by the results. They say passive screen viewing leaves children more sedentary and takes time away from interpersonal relationships that improve social and communication skills. An Australian grandmother is turning her hobby into something she hopes will help hundreds of school children who don't have basic supplies. We have more on her mission.
One day, Angela Harris had a chat with her granddaughter that made her aware of students in need. Many Australian children can't afford basic school supplies.
She's just become a teacher. She said, there's kiddies out there that don't have a pencil case.
Harris decided to take matters into her own hands, so the Queensland grandmother created Grandma's Wish.
I thought about it for a little while and then I decided I'm going to make pencil cases.
This year, she and friends from her sewing circle are making 365 pencil cases.
That's my wish, to have any child that wants a pencil case or needs a pencil case, more importantly, will have one.
The Smith family is an Australian charity for children. The organization says more than 1 million Australian kids live in poverty. They often go to school without essential supplies.
If they don't feel like they fit in, not only are they not going to perform as well as their better off peers, but they are likely to exit the education system early.
Harris is determined to help as many children as she can.
If I make 300, if I make 200, it's 200 children will have something that belongs to them, that someone's made with love, and they have it.
Harris hopes her efforts will help the next generation succeed in school and in life. For now, she'll continue to sew.
Coming up, an internet-famous dad is sharing fatherly advice to millions of people online. We have his story after the break.
Stay tuned to get 2 rolls of alien tape free. You wouldn't stick your mother-in-law on the wall, but you could with alien tape. It just sticks. Just peel and stick to make anything stay in place quick. Brick, pavers, marble, tile, plastic, even leather. Nothing works better than alien tape. You wouldn't stick your fishbowl on a moving car, but you could with alien tape. The secret is nano-stick technology that grabs and locks on to secure one side of the surface to the other. Alien tape secures in seconds, then twist, pull, and rinse to reuse. Call or go online to get your first roll of alien tape for just $19.99, plus shipping and processing. But to make this deal really stick, we'll give you 2 more rolls absolutely free. You get 3 rolls of alien tape for one low price. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-490-1364 or go to tryalientape.com. So call 1-800-490-1364 or order online at tryalientape.com.
In America, politics and business are 2 separate worlds. Politicians make laws, CEOs make profits. But now, that's all changing. A movement has been growing to unite corporations, governments, and global institutions. Its purpose is to deal with issues like climate change, racism, inequality, and gun control. It is called ESG. How does it work? And how will it change our lives? Are we bending Wall Street to our will, Or are we the ones who will be manipulated?
Taiwan's endangered stout camphor trees are worth conserving. Alps Biotech is committed to nationwide restoration to maintain eco-balance. To help counter global warming, we're keen to act on carbon reduction and attain zero emissions. We're realizing ESG sustainability while building up carbon credits. Restoring stout camphor trees, promoting global sustainability. Alps Biotech.
Welcome back. How to tie a tie? That's a question Rob Kenny didn't have an opportunity to ask his dad, so now he's become the internet dad for more than 4 million people. Here's his story.
So this will be good information for you to have.
When Rob Kenny uploaded his first ever video to his YouTube channel, little did he know the impact it would have.
You want to pay attention to that knot there while you're doing this.
The short video, How to Tie a Tie, went viral and, much to Rob's surprise, ended up with over 2 million views.
I thought of the idea a few years before I actually put up my first video, but then during the pandemic, we were locked up just like everybody else. And so I kind of ran out of excuses. My daughter kept encouraging me to go ahead and do it. And so I finally uploaded How to Tie a Tie in April 2nd of 2020. And then the channel went viral in May, about the end of May of 2020.
It wasn't long before Rob became known as the internet's dad. His channel features videos of him showing viewers how to shave, put up a shelf, jumpstart a car, iron a shirt and more, all while sharing some fatherly wisdom. Rob's own family journey was riddled with hardships. When he was 14, his dad left to start a new life in a different city. Forgiving his father wasn't easy, Rob says, but ultimately most rewarding.
It took me the longest time to forgive him, and I'm a little embarrassed by that. I let 30 years go by before I finally forgave him, but I heard the quote that said, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping it hurts the other person. And so when I finally heard that, I was like, wow, that's me. I'm holding this against my dad. I need to move on. And it was hard, but once I finally did, there was freedom for me.
In his videos, Rob often speaks about the power of forgiveness, which is derived from his faith.
If people say bad things about me or what have you, the Lord still loves me. So I'm grateful for that because it really keeps me grounded, keeps my perspective, and helps me to understand that this is all temporary.
His channel, Dad, How Do I, now has over 4 million followers from people all around the world. Rob says one of his goals is to show people it's cool to be a dad.
I've commented about some of the stereotypes of dads, like on sitcoms, like Homer Simpson, and then what's his name, Al Bundy. You might get a few laughs, but I don't like that because it's like the dad's a bumbling fool that everybody can make fun of, and I think that has hurt our society. I think because the lack of respect for authority and for dads, unfortunately, causes some dads to just say, I'm not needed, and you're needed.
Rob says the most important part is to hang in there and know your value.
There we go. It's running.
On this episode of Strong Mind and Body, we look at some ancient tips on how to improve skincare and enhance your natural beauty. Here's Gina Marie.
The benefits of traditional Chinese medicine reach far beyond treating acute and chronic diseases. Since ancient times, Chinese medicine doctors have used acupuncture and various Chinese herbal formulas. These improve your skincare routine and enhance your natural beauty. Chinese medicine views the human body as a holistic system with a complex network of interconnected parts. The body is considered healthy when the interconnected parts are in balance. In Chinese medicine, skin health reflects the condition of internal organs. Any skin-related issues may be traced back to the imbalance of the internal organs in the body. In Chinese medicine, 5 significant organs connect the entire body: the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and spleen. Skin is considered an extension of the inner organs. In TCM, the lungs are more than just a respiratory system. They are deeply related to the large intestines. They hold a strong role in breathing in and out, the necessity of living a healthy life. The skin is seen as an external reflection of the lungs as an internal organ. The lungs cannot nourish your skin correctly if the energy is blocked or the qi, which is your vital energy, is too weak. Therefore, Chinese medicine skincare usually starts by treating issues of the lungs. In TCM, qi and bodily fluids are the essential substances for life's activities. They all originate from the internal organs and flow constantly inside the body. It's key that these essential substances are sufficient and circulate throughout the body. It's important for health and well-being. Organs are delicate and can be affected by several environmental factors. This can impact skin health. Lung health, for instance, can be affected by heat, cold, dryness, and wind. Poor diet or lifestyle habits can result in consuming too many foods with heat. This includes spicy or deep-fried foods, excessive alcohol, and caffeine. Smoking also creates heat. Too much heat interferes with the balance and harmony in the lungs. This results in skin symptoms such as redness, dryness, hot flushes, acne, eczema, and psoriasis. Cold and dry air can irritate the airways of people with lung disease. This can cause dry, itchy, and cracking skin. Excessive consumption of cold foods and icy beverages can also have a similar impact on the skin. Dampness is another factor that can affect lung health. According to TCM, dampness may be caused by poor digestion and a diet high or rich in fatty foods. Dampness may result in skin issues like thickening skin, pus, pimples, and lumps such as cystic acne or warts. For thousands of years, traditional Chinese medicine doctors have used herbs and acupuncture. These methods can treat and prevent various skin issues and achieve beautiful, young-looking skin. Cosmetic acupuncture works because it treats the root causes of skin issues. It identifies and treats the imbalances of the organs. It also addresses the environmental impact on the skin. The facial acupuncture treatment stimulates blood circulation in the face. It also helps to reduce wrinkles and improves overall skin condition. After a series of facial acupuncture treatments, most people not only look younger but also feel better. That is why people call facial acupuncture a health lift. For a great skincare routine, there are also some universally beneficial herbs. Chinese herbalists usually recommend chamomile tea to calm and reduce facial redness, tea tree oil to relieve mild or moderate acne breakouts, honeysuckle relieves rosacea, and calendula oil soothes eczema. They also recommend herbal teas that include tulsi, echinacea, olive leaf, and green tea. These are all excellent herbs for clear skin. Additional herbs and spices that support healthy skin from the inside out including turmeric, oregano, and chaga.
2 Puma cubs thriving in their new home at Philadelphia Zoo. They were reportedly orphaned after their mother was shot by a farmer. The 2 cubs are about 20 weeks old. They were rescued this summer from Kalama, Washington. The Philadelphia Zoo was chosen as their new home because of its experience in caring for this species. Zoo officials say the placement is critical and thanked the Washington State Fish and Wildlife Service. Without a mother, the 2 youngsters likely wouldn't have survived on their own. They're set to make their debut to the public in early fall. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm Chris Beers.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Did you know YouTube only keeps selective videos on its platform? So if you want to make sure you get the full picture, just subscribe to our newsletter. Go to newsletter.ntd.com and sign up. It's free.